What's up, everybody? It's the Common Sense Investor coming at you with another video. This video, I promised you I was going to do the Tuttle letter, but I woke up and I seen that Tony DeNaro was about to have Chance the Lawyer on his live stream, so I wanted to sit through that and watch that, and picked up a lot of good information, people. You don't want to miss this video. Now, to jump into first, what was going on is Chance the Lawyer reports on things that happen in the Chancery Court where we're at. So she was giving her viewpoint on how things are standing. All right. The first part that they brought up was letters to the court. I got my notes right here, so y'all forgive me. I just don't want to misquote nobody. All right. But the first one was the letters to the court. First, they established that the judge, in fact, gave instructions on how we were to file them. Now, you can find that right here on March 28th when the judge herself wrote a letter to whom it may concern and puts the precedent on how to file a letter to the court in this letter to us. And it's signed by the judge. She gives no date on when we should start filing. She doesn't say that we're out of line filing when we are. All right? So let's get that understood. Then, 16 days later, she sends this letter to us. On April 14th, again, to whom it may concern. This letter is to provide the proper procedures for any pro se person intending to submit documents for filing into the docket in the Court of Chancery case captioned above. All right? And she gives you how to e-file your complaint or your pro se. You're going to find out when Tuttle does his, it was his letter to the judge, and the letter accepts it as a pro se. You'll see that when I do the Tuttle letter. But here we are again. She tells you if you're going to file pro se, this is the procedure to do it. And again, we do not get a deadline from the judge. Okay? Now, if Tuttle had waited, as this lady is saying the judge wants us to do, then he would have never been accepted as a pro se litigant in this case, people. If he would have waited, like this woman said. But Mr. O'Connor didn't wait, and he didn't wait. And both of them are now logged into the record as approved by the judge as pro se litigants in this case because of their letters. Now, where's she wrong? And then I'll move on to the next part. Is she's saying that she believes that the judge is thinking. Understand that too. She believes that the judge is thinking. It's not necessarily saying the judge is thinking that. But that you are sending in your objections to the settlement too soon. You haven't even seen the settlement, she said. We're not objecting. The letters we're sending is not objecting no bitch-ass 7.5 to 1 payment back to us, what Allegheny and them are working. That ain't got nothing to do with our letters. Our letters is talking to the judge saying that these people have manipulated us and robbed from us and stole everything from us. That is what our letters are concerned with. So don't get it twisted when you talking about, well, you're out of time with the way the procedures work. You can't object to the settlement until we ain't objecting to settlement. Now, just a couple points before I move on to the next one is that she just doesn't understand what the battle is that we're in and what we're complaining to the judge about. All right, that these letters are testimony. So I don't hold it against her that she's saying that we're filing it at the wrong time, but she doesn't understand that we're not filing it at the wrong time. We're not arguing against the settlement. But what I found most interesting was when she switched gears and she said that the judge would be more impacted if we were to show up in person for the hearing. That a letter is fine if you can't make it, but then the judge goes, well, anybody can file a letter. But how many people show up in force, in solidarity for the hearing to let their voices be heard? And she said that out of her own mouth at minute 28. Go back and watch Tony's live stream at minute 28. And as soon as that left her mouth, Tony said, okay, well, let's move on to the next thing over here. Wait a minute, why wouldn't Tony let her finish talking about the importance of showing up in person at this hearing? And he cut her off. And he said, let's move on to the next point, which I'm doing right now. Point number 2, the preliminary injunction in hearing. After she was cut off from being told how important it is to show up if you have the ability to, they talked about the preliminary injunction hearing. Now, that's going to be the hearing where she was supposed to decide to lift the status quo and let reverse stock split and conversion happen. That was supposed to happen on the 27th. That date is off the calendar now. We're in settlement hearing time now, and where we're at is AMC and Allegheny have put in their request to see the judge concerning the settlement. All right? And when will it be? Nobody knows, but I've pulled up her calendar, and she's got a teleconference Monday at 1:30. Now, what is that for? I don't know. Is it about this case? We don't know. But this was supposed to be the day AMC would be able to come forward and challenge Mr. Akano and Mr. Tuttle on their ability to move pro se in this matter. All right? And then Tuesday, we can see she's got a teleconference at 11 a.m. So we know she's booked then. You see here, she's got a hearing MDJ. Not sure what that means. I'm not a lawyer. But that's at 3:15 on Tuesday. So you're seeing her calendar. And when is it going to be possible? Here's another hearing MDJ, whatever that means. But you get the point. Here's her calendar for the whole week right here. Oral arguments MTP, whatever that is. That could be what we're looking forward to. I don't know. I'm not a lawyer. But I'm just looking at the time frames that she's on the docket to have hearings. These are the possible time frames that we could fall in to have this thing heard, people. But all we could get from the stopping of the preliminary injunction to where we're at right now in the court is it should be sometime next week that we hear on when she wants to sit down and do the teleconference. Now, that's important too. The teleconference, people, that's a whole nother video of its own. She's told that both parties they are to have a telephone conference where all shareholders will be able to listen in on the settlement hearing. So you will hear everything AMC is going to be saying in that courtroom concerning this hearing. She's made that possible for us. It should be sometime next week. That's all we know. And Adam Aaron, you better let the shareholders know when this telephone conference is supposed to be so that we can listen in. And I see we're over 8 minutes already. I don't want to keep y'all too long. I'm going to go ahead and get started on the next part of this, part 2, where, man, look, have you ever heard the saying, never ask the question you don't know the answer to because the case ends up blowing back up in your face? That's what happens to lawyers when they ask questions they don't know the answers to. You're supposed to know the answers before you ask them. And poor old Tony, as I watched that video on through, every question this woman asked, or he asked that woman, blew up in his face. And I'm going to show y'all and tell y'all what I mean coming up in the next video. Love y'all. Be blessed. And I'll see you then.